Hi, I'm Shivam.
Hi, I'm Izzy.
And this is PhoenixChat.
Where one of us can read.
Which one?
You find out.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of PhoenixChat. And today is a very, very special day because today is the first time we get to talk about one of Juliet's biggest fuck-ups. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yay!
Oh my god. Yeah, so just right off the bat, I just want to say this session is, easily one of my favorite sessions I've ever done ever. It was honestly just so fun to be a part of this one. But yeah, no, let's not waste any sort of time here so we can fully grasp every tiny little detail of Juliet's fuck up later.
Okay, this isn't even the worst one though. Well, morally yes, but this isn't even the one where I committed a federal crime. Okay,
Yeah. Top 3 for sure, though. Top 3 for sure.
Top 3? What's the other 2? I mean, the other 2, is the federal crime thing. And what's the other one?
Toadbird.
Oh. Okay, alright, you have me here. God, okay.
Oh my god.
Anyway, where we last left off, because we were gonna just go into this, we were heading back to Hope's Landing after defeating the Hydra base. And Legion was heading toward Hope's Landing as we were as well, and we were like, "Oh shit, let's fucking stop them because bad guy." Okay.
Yeah. So you guys then immediately started trying to chase Legion down in a nice little carriage chase there. Yeah. That was honestly real fun. Where just you guys had to figure out ways to get yourselves closer and closer to the cart, and also just being very reliant on your ranged sort of moves because it was very just a non-traditional battle.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I know. Do you remember the exact specifics though of Essen's plan during this? Because I remember the part where it all went downhill, but I don't remember the why.
All I could remember was he wanted to see if he could lift the cart with his whatever the ability is where he could lift
Air
things.
Genasi levitation?
Yeah, levitation, just to see if he could lift the cart to make Legion stop. And we had to get closer, and so he thought, oh, I could just be yeeted in front of the cart, and it'll work, I think. And we were like, okay, sure, that makes sense. Didn't work.
Yeah, I think Levitate has a range of 30 feet, and you guys are 35 feet away or something like that. And so Essen's I'll leap out in front, and then I'll immediately cast Levitate, and that should slow down Legion enough while the rest of you guys catch up. And so I said, okay, you can try this. Essen leaps out in front of the cart, manages to levitate Legion for a hot second, immediately crashes to the ground and loses concentration on the goddamn spell as you all leave Essen in the dust. And then I say, okay, so it's the end of turn, so your cart moves 5 feet closer to Legion's cart, so now if you were stayed on the cart, Essen, you would have been just within range to cast this normally without doing the fucking jumping off maneuver you were attempting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what we were trying to accomplish there either, to be completely honest. I was just kind of alright, sure, let's yeet him.
Yeah. Yeah, so that happened, just kind of confused about the decision-making process there. The rest of you guys, though, I decided to give Essen a bit of a break by saying, okay, I guess that Levitate was enough to slow Legion down a little bit so you guys are able to, get some pot shots off on like the wheels and stuff like that, and maybe like stop her. Yeah, you blew off. I think Morgan blew off one of the wheels and actually managed to get Legion to spin out.
Yeah.
At which point, Legion just still has that fucking like sadistic grin on her face as she says like something about like the passengers inside of the cart. I think.
Well, this was also the first time we found out Legion's name.
Yeah, because I fucked
by
up.
accident. Yeah, because you're like, oh, Legion, and we're like, Legion?
Yeah. I accidentally referred to the shapeshifter as Legion, and so like as that was happening, I was like, holy shit, wait, I got ahead of myself in my notes there, because like the next part of my notes was that like oh, and we haven't been formally introduced yet, you may call me Legion, and so I just had to like quickly retcon like Legion just said that, and that's why you know her name is now Legion.
Yeah, we're like,
Stupid.
Okay, fuck you, Lady Legion, who cares? And I remember us trying to like figure out how to lock the gates or something like that, because we didn't know exactly what was in the carriage. We were like, maybe it's a hostage, or maybe it's a monster. And then fucking zombie monkeys popped out of the thing.
Yeah, I think like you guys were all like debating, and then I'm just like, okay, if you're just guys gonna sit there and debate, the fucking zombie monkeys are just gonna pop out.
Yeah. Pretty much everybody was whamming on the zombie monkeys, but I wanted to kick Essen. Yeah, I'm gonna kick Essen's ass during this whole thing.
The betrayal.
I wanted to kick Legion's ass because I was like, bro, fuck you. Why do you gotta be like this? And nothing fucking worked. So, and like the weird thing was, she didn't even try to attack me back, and I was getting even more frustrated at that point. I was like, you bastard, just fight me. It didn't work.
Yeah, no. Legion's one of those classic big bad enemies that can just like heal off damage, so just doesn't view like the party as a threat. Especially because like I think they fully healed like your entire attack except for like 1 damage. Which is really cool.
1 damage, okay.
Yeah. Death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, leave me alone, okay? I 1 damage.
Yeah. I distinctly remember with this monkey fight though that like the Girolons have like 5 attacks, and so like they can't hit especially well with any of the attacks, but they just have a whole fucking lot of them. I distinctly remember though, every time I like just attacked with the monkeys, it was just like 16, 17, 17, nat 20, 19.
Yeah.
And it just like, was it Boondock or Morgan that was just getting like torn apart by these monkeys because of this?
I thought it was Essen.
Oh, it could have been
like ripped.
Oh yeah. Essen was just having the extremely bad day after that fuck up and like already taking a bunch of damage, and then like all the monkeys hit all of their attacks on Essen, and like one of them fucking like crit twice on Essen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It added really just insult to injury too, because like I had also one of the monkeys attack Morgan, and one of the monkeys as just attempted to attack Morgan. It was just like fucking like 1, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking complete opposite
Halfling
ends of the
luck.
spectrum there.
It was halfling luck, that's what it is.
Honestly, truly. But yeah, no, you guys beat the shit out of the monkeys. Legion slow claps because, you know, that's all she does is slow clap at you guys patronizingly. And then she throws down the ultimatum and the hook for this arc. This was a taste of Mr. Salt's new army, and Legion tells Boondock to deliver a message to the town of Hope's Landing. Either the town of Hope's Landing delivers Boondock dead to Mr. Salt, or Mr. Salt's going to use his zombie army to burn Hope's Landing to the ground, and they have until sundown to decide. Oh man, so like,
and then poofs into dust.
But the Legion poofs away into dust and flames, just maniacally laughing as she does. I think that was the first time I've really thrown down one of those like big moments at you guys, where like you guys really need to decide what you need to want to do here, or it's going to be like really big consequences. What were your like thoughts as a player then after I like, you know, said that whole big thing?
My immediate thought was, holy fuck, we need to go to Hope's Landing right now or they're all gonna die. That was my just straight up immediate thought process. I'm like, they're all gonna die. We need to go right now. I didn't really give a shit about Mr. Salt being the one behind it. I just was more concerned about, like, the innocent people dying rather than, like, who was behind it at the time. Obviously, once we, like, went to the town and made sure everybody was okay, then I was like, okay, Mr. Salt's an asshole. I get it now.
Yeah. You know, and this is also the fun moment of just, like, the other shoe finally dropping, and, like, Boondock now has the information on Mr. Salt that he needs to, like, bring him in. This is enough of a threat that, like, yeah, it's honestly just, like, makes it such an interesting character, because, like, obviously, like, Boondock's obviously nervous and kind of scared that, like, you know, the Mr. Salt, is gonna burn the Hope's Landing to the ground, but also, like, he now has Mr. Salt. If he can figure out a way to defend the town, he has Mr. Salt.
Yep.
And, like, that's one of the things that Boondock has wanted for a long, long time now. Which is just interesting to have a like, very conflicted kind of character. But yeah, no, so you guys do ride back to Hope's Landing. Thankfully, nothing's out of place because you managed to stop Legion from, like, riding in. You guys then made the very smart decision of only telling Ma Boondock about the ultimatum that, like, the town's gonna be burned to the ground unless Boondock is brought to Mr. Salt dead. Yeah, because, like, I was going to have, like, a mechanic there, like, if you guys told, like, the town of Hope's Landing that, like, there's a way to get out of this and to, like, and it would be to bring Boondock's dead body over, like, some people might have actually, like, if things had gotten from bad to worse, some people might have tried to, like, fucking do that.
Well, even if he would, like, is the sheriff of this town? Like, that's rude.
I mean, yes, but, like, what I try to characterize a lot of the people of Hope's Landing is that, like, a lot of them are just desperate to survive, and, like, eventually when you get so desperate in that way, like, you start to do anything just to get by another day. That's where I wanted to, like, some of the people to come across as. Obviously, it wouldn't have been, like, a lot of people. It would have been, like, a choice few shitheads.
Got it. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we did it, because we kind of thought about it beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah, so smart decision. You guys just told the town of Hope's Landing, like, Mr. Salt is going to burn this place to the ground at sundown. To which, you know, most of the townsfolk kind of started to panic a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to explain the reaction?
They were all like, okay, then we should leave. And, well, okay, so we gathered everybody pretty much in the saloon, because we were like, okay, this is where we can make, like, a fortified, like, fort thing, so that way in case the army does come and attack, we have at least one place of, like, refuge that we can, like, you know, work with. And so everyone's like, yo, we should just leave. And Juliet's, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you want to leave? You want to just abandon this whole town that you've lived in your whole life and, like, you've built from the ground up? Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you cowards? Like, she was so mad.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, we'll be fucking alive. Duh.
You know, that was also my favorite, like, line from that session was that, Juliet saying, like, do you guys, like, really want to, like, go live the rest of your lives as cowards? And one guy immediately yells back, like, yeah, because then at least I'll have the rest of my life to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really fun one, though, where, like, you could really get a chance to show, like, what your characters can do here to try and, like, rally townspeople up. I believe you then came up with a plan, then, like, the children and the sick should retreat, and then try and, like, gather as many, like, able bodies as you can to properly defend the town.
Yeah. Yeah, once we did that, Juliet called Faith, who was on her way to Hope's Landing with supplies and, like, the kegs and stuff that was promised from Cass. And she calls Faith and she's like, hey, so there's people that are gonna come follow the train tracks. I'm assuming that's what you're following. Pick them up and make sure they're safe and abandon the kegs in the desert. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, just do it. To make room for the children, damn it.
Truly the most heroic sacrifice.
The most heroic sacrifice. Especially coming from her, like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. I even felt like honestly bad about it like that, but like honestly, that's a great fucking character moment. Shows like, you know, Julia can be an asshole, but like she is a good person at heart.
She's still salty about it. I feel it in my bones. She's gonna be like, damn it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and so then you also then send Titus, who's been like really just having this like heel face turn, and you basically tell him like you're the only one who can like, you know, protect the children and the sick as you guys are retreating towards Faith. I think you also decide to threaten Titus a bit too, like, you know, if you fuck this up, I swear to God, all of us are gonna find you and murder you.
Yeah, and like Titus being like one-handed now is kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
oh man, yeah. So, yeah, you then like gather up as many people as you can and start doing like a bit of like a training montage there.
Well,
actually, at this point, you want to go ahead? No, go ahead.
Okay.
What's your plan?
This was my thought process going into this. So I'm like, okay, so this is an army of the undead. And I was like, wait, wasn't there a graveyard near the church that we went to go investigate Reverend Saul? And I was like, yeah, you know what? Since I'm a phantom rogue kitsune, so I'm like kind of in touch with the spirit world kind of thing. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and investigate and see if I can stop it before it even starts.
Yeah.
By myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to see that. Love to see every single one of those decisions. Now, this makes total actually just like sense for you as a character, but here's what I as a DM had planned out. I had planned out that you guys were going to start riding out, you guys were going to pass by the graveyard, you guys were going to see a horrible monster in the graveyard, and have to do a fight there. Now, Juliet decides to go to the graveyard alone, and I had a decision to make if I wanted her to just like show up to the graveyard, there's a horrible monster there, Juliet starts sprinting off in the opposite direction. But no, I decided like to move stuff backwards, and like it ended up working out because you can go ahead and explain what your next plan was as you found a now empty graveyard.
Okay, so I went into the graveyard, and it was weird because I asked, like, okay, do I sense like any souls or anything? And obviously it's a fucking graveyard. You would assume, yeah, but there was no souls. And then I rolled a perception check or something like that, and I saw that there was like 3 like freshly buried graves, and I was like, okay, big brain move. I am so smart. I found these sticks and I stuck them in where the freshly graves were, and I tied a rope to it, and I made basically like this alarm system because I crawled up the top of the side of the church and attached it to the bell that's on the church. So if these graves moved, the bell would go off, and that would warn everybody, okay, it's happening. I'm like, I am so good at this game.
That was really
genius.
Smart. That was really, really smart. I felt bad that I couldn't do anything with that.
But then, this is where my I thought I was so fucking good at this game. So as I'm looking around the graveyard, there's this giant mausoleum, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so smart. That's where the king zombie's gonna be. If I go in and take out whatever weapon is in there and defeat it now, we're golden. So my dumbass goes in there. There's a sign that clearly states the name of who's in the mausoleum. I
asked you, like,
it.
do you want to read the name? And it's like, it's a little bit dusty, but like, if you decide to like wipe off the dust, you can probably read the name. And like,
nope.
Juliet's like, nah, of course not. Just fucking kicks down the door.
I did not kick down the door. Okay, hold on. Don't make me sound like an asshole to the dead. Like,
okay, then go ahead and explain what you did.
Okay, hold on. So I go in there, and there's like a single coffin thing just chilling there, and I'm looking around to see like, hey, maybe I can find something in here. And then you're like, there's something in the coffin. I'm like, god damn it, I have to open it. So I open it, and there is a skeleton holding a legendary gun tar. Now my fucking idiot brain didn't put together who else has a guntar? Boondock. Oh, hey, he could use this. That's what I thought. Like, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, hey, he could use this. I don't want this. I have no idea how to use a gun. I managed to yoink it out of the skeleton's body, or coffin, and put it on my back. And then I shut the coffin, and I was like, wait a second, he'll still be able to get out. And I tie the coffin shut. And I leave. Having absolutely no idea the consequences of what I just did.
Yeah. And as you leave, I described that you kind of like, you felt like some kind of presence like behind you. But as you turned around, you saw nothing.
Yeah, and I was already freaked out because I was like, oh, okay. So, my dumbass, I'm strutting into Hope's Landing with this guntar on my back. I'm like, hey guys, I did it. I managed to save the entire fucking town. I am amazing.
Yep. And I described to Boondock as they see Juliet currently strutting over their dead father's guntar strapped to Juliet's back. The last time Boondock saw that guitar, he was maybe like 15 or 16 years old. As Boondock just fucking error 404s, Ma Boondock is wide-eyed reaching for her shotgun.
Yeah. I grave robbed. That's what I did. And
you stole from another PC's dead father.
Okay, that is not what my intention was. I had all the good intentions. I didn't even think anything of grave robbing at all in my mind. I was merely like, oh my gosh, this is the king zombie. If I do this, the town will be saved. We won't have to fight anything, and we all get to live. This is great. I'm so fucking smart. No, absolutely. I'm fucking dumb, okay? I admit it. And literally, it didn't even click into my brain until Boondock Arrow 404'd and Ma Boondock was shook. And I was like, oh my god, wait, this isn't what it looks like. And I immediately handed over to Ma Boondock. I'm like, please take it. I promise I don't want it. Just take it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Ma Boondock's still kind of wide-eyed, but just kind of like seems to believe you because like you were at least like decided to hand it over and everything like that.
Well,
Boondock's I wasn't completely like, just like out of it.
Yeah, I like seriously, I really wasn't going to keep it either. Like,
yes, of course.
Because like for one, I have no idea how to play guitar. For two, I have no idea how to shoot a gun. So, swords, give me a sword, I will keep that. But like this, I'm like, I have no fucking idea how to use this. You can have it.
Yeah, considering I homebrewed like a weapon for Boondock and called it a guntar, and like I described this as being a legendary guntar, I think you always knew who this was meant for.
I mean, yeah, that too. And I'm like, you know, she really could have kept it, but I'm like, no, she wouldn't have.
Bad idea.
Absolutely not. Yeah, that was an awkward situation. Again.
Yeah. So I think then you didn't describe like you had no idea where Mr. Salt was gonna like get the bodies from, and like you guys like, oh, the freshly dug graves and stuff like that, like they've been like digging up bodies, and then so like, but then you said like, wait, but that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Then like if they were digging up bodies, then wouldn't have like someone have seen them? Like someone should have stopped them, right? And Boondock finally pieces it together. Reverend Salt would be the person to stop them if people were grave robbing. Reverend Salt's not going to stop Mr. Salt because Reverend Salt was in on it. Mm-hmm. And you sounded so goddamn shook when you heard that information. That was
I tried really hard, okay? I thought I was so good at this game. I'm like, you know what? Call me a god, alright? I'm so good at this game. I defeated the King Zombie before he even had a chance. And what happened? I was wrong. Surprise.
Yeah. I didn't mean for that to be a big reveal, but you guys all just kind of like, oh. As y'all realize, like, I've pieced everything together here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, but at this point, like, Boondock's still just, like, way too fucking out of it. Ma Boondock, like, eventually just kind of resolves, like, okay, Boondock, you deserve to have, like, your father's guntar. Like, if he would have wanted you to have this, and, like, if it wasn't for, like, the whole thing just, like, being a blur with, like, his funeral, like, I would have given it to you myself. And so Boondock, takes, the guntar, and, like, Ma Boondock tries to, like, lift his spirits, like, you maybe want to play, like, the song like your dad taught you or something, but, like, Boondock still just, like, heroic blue screen of death and just kind of says, like, not right now. And at this point, Ma Boondock decides to give Boondock some space. The rest of you are now back into the saloon, attempting to rally the townspeople in order to, like, fight. Yeah, you eventually kind of, like, convince a good portion of, like, some able-bodied people to fight and, like, get trained, but, like, it isn't going very well. Do you want to explain?
So, okay, I wanted to avoid Boondock completely because I felt so fucking bad, and even when I tried to apologize, they were, like, not even responding, not even looking at me. I'm like, I fucked up bad. I understand that. Okay, I'm gonna give them room. And then it was Morgan and I and Hobbs. We decided to go outside of the saloon and do, like, a I'll make a man out of you montage Mulan training session with the townsfolk. I was trying to teach them how to use, like, pitchforks and swords and blades and shit, and Morgan was teaching them how to use guns. And as this was going on,
my favorite line for Morgan teaching people how to use guns is he just, like, straight up said, like, here's the end that you point at them, then pull the trigger. Not point that end at yourself. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. And as we were doing that, Essen went inside, because that's where Boondock was, because Boondock was just chilling, looking down at his dead father's guntar, and Essen gave this amazing speech about, like, basically to convince him, like, you were the sheriff, they're looking up to you, like, this is probably something your father would have wanted you to have, like, in the beginning, and don't you think, like, your father wanted to see you, like, become this sheriff that everyone looks up to? It was such a good speech. Like, all of us were like, wow, holy shit. And that is what convinced Boondock, like, you know what, you're right. And then gets up and starts strumming that song that his dad taught him as they're walking out. And that is when the townsfolk kind of, like, cheered up and realized, like, yeah, our sheriff is, like, confident in us, and then started training, like, for real.
Yeah, no. I think, like, I even described it as, like, Boondock, you just, like, walk outside and just, like, stare down each and every one of, like, the townsfolk outside training, just, like, giving them a hell of, like, a bit of an intimidating look. As, like, every single one of these townsfolk immediately starts fucking putting their back into the training. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, this is the point where we have, like, the Mulan I'll make a man out of you montage. Yeah. You guys also, like, equip the townsfolk with, like, supplies, bombs, and excess equipment.
Well, yeah, especially because we kind of stole it back from the Hydra base, too. We were like, hey, you guys can use these. Use them!
Yeah. At this point, like, Ma Boondock has a idea as she pulls the rest of the adventurers aside. She mentions that when Mr. Salt is going to lead his army, most of the army is going to be attacking the town of Hope's Landing, which means that Mr. Salt is going to be weak and by himself, hopefully, with just, like, very few guards. Mm-hmm. So if you guys were to just head out and try to strike at Mr. Salt, then maybe you could just, like, make this whole thing come to a head, as the rest of Hope's Landing just, like, holds out for as long as it possibly can.
Mm-hmm. And all of us were so worried, too. We were like, oh my god, I hope they don't die. Like,
Yeah, so how I played this out was, I had a system, so, I believe I started you guys out as, like, a, just a +0 or something like that. And every time you guys did stuff to help out the town, I would give you like bonuses. So like when you guys like equip the townsfolk, I guarantee like a +3, and like when Boondock like goes out and fucking stares everyone down, it's another like +3 and stuff like that. And as you guys like finishing up this prep phase, you eventually got up to a plus like 14. Now, as soon as you would go through the dungeon, then I was going to have like if you guys were taking like too long and stuff like that. So like if you guys took a short rest, I think I would like subtract like 3 or 5 from that number. If you guys took a long rest, I was just going to set that number down to like a -5, and then you guys would have to like regain like all the things that you'd like just lost there. Because, you know, if you guys took a long rest, that would be 8 hours that Hope's Landing needs to hold out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And at the end of all of this, as soon as you guys finish the dungeon and, you know, beat the boss in there, I was then going to roll a d20 plus that number, and then, like, based on how high that number was, I was going to, like, have the town of Hope's Landing be in, like, more or less of a state of decay, and have people be, like, more or less injured. And if you guys, like, somehow managed to roll real low on this, like, there was a good chance some, like, key NPCs could die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
We were all just... I think mainly we were mostly worried about Ma, Boondock, and, like, Lucky, and, like, the people who, like, ran to safety to Faith. I think that's who we were primarily worried about. Well, I mean, Boondock, of course, was worried about the whole town, but, like, we, like, us as a party had no idea who these people are other than us trying to train them.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and obviously, like, I would have described as, like, some members of the town, like, being killed, like, if it was just kind of, like, a middling roll. But thankfully, you guys managed to really, like, scrape out a nice, like, high roll out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, also with that whole thing, just recapping that whole scene with Juliet fucking up. We eventually, again, the events happened in, like, the exact same order of how I wanted them to, because, like, I wanted there to eventually be this big fight, but it just kind of happens in different locations. So instead of that horrible fight in the graveyard with Juliet by herself, I just pushed her a little bit further down the line, and honestly, like, it worked out really, really, honestly, better that way, just because, like, Boondock gets the Guntar a little bit earlier, has, like, this whole, like, you know, scene where they get to explain the chance, like, why the guitar is so important, and, like, you know, why it's causing them to blue screen. Oh, man. Yeah. And then I think one of the last things before you guys went out is, you had a little chat with my Boondock, didn't you?
Okay, I legitimately felt so goddamn bad about this. Like, me personally and Juliet, like, we were one and the same at that moment because we're both fucking dumb. And miffed my ass. Okay, it says here on the notes that we have, yeah, Juliet goes to talk with Ma Boondock, who is understandably miffed. No, she was so pissed, dude. There's no way she was just miffed. Okay, if my dead husband's Guntar was just brought to me by this random ass stranger, I would kill them.
I thought it would make you feel better though, because like instead of me describing Ma Boondock's 3 steps away from taking a shotgun out in your ass.
Yeah. So I went up to her and I was like, look, I am so sorry about what happened. I hope you realize I meant, like, the best intention. I was never going to keep the Guntar. This belongs to you, and this belongs to Boondock. I didn't want anything to do with it. I just thought I was helping. And then Ma Boondock was like, alright, I guess you're telling the truth. I'm like, I am telling the truth. And then I was like, look, I swear to you, when we find fucking Mr. Salt, I will bring you his eyeballs. And she's like, what? And I was like, as proof of my, as my, like, peace offering, to you.
Peace offering.
My olive branch, if you will, but in the form of eyeballs in a jar.
Yeah. And thankfully, Ma Boondock is also fucking hardcore as fuck, and so she's like, yeah, no, you do that and I'll hang the eyeballs up my fucking mantle.
Yeah. Like, you know how, like, parents put up their kids', like, really shitty drawings in the fridge, like, and they're super proud of it? That's Juliet, but with fucking weird body parts of people that she's defeated.
Yeah. I just want you to know my personal headcanon is, like, the eyeballs are currently, like, sitting in a jar, like, next to, like, Boondock's, like, drawings that they made as a kid. Both of those just have, like, the same importance.
Hell yeah! I've made my impact on Ma Boondock, that's what's important. Whether that is a good or a bad impact, you know, that's up to discretion. But anyway, and she's like, alright, cool, give him, just go. And I was like, alright, cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so we headed out, to kick Mr. Salt's ass.
Yeah, so, cool little scene where all of you guys are, like, driving out, towards the sun setting, or, riding out, to the sun setting. Yeah, no, classic Western movie trope right there that I managed to knock off the list.
There's a tumbleweed in the background, like, everything.
Yes. Yeah, you guys, ride out and, ride past the graveyard. However, and this is the part I felt really, really bad about, the army is not coming from the graveyard, it's coming from the mines, and it's going past the graveyard, so the bell isn't ringing.
Yeah. I was pissed, man. I'm like, damn it, I thought I was doing such a good job. So as we were riding, I took a detour, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I'm warning them, because I told Mom Boondock, too, like, if you hear the bells ringing, that's how you know that they're coming, because I assumed that they were coming from the graveyard. So I yeeted my horse all the way over there, and I snapped the pulley system to make the bells ring, so that way they would be prepared.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I felt really bad. Like, honestly, I probably, like, should have put, like, some undead in there, but just, like, I had no plans or intentions, because, like, I had a system for how the undead were being created, and, like, it was definitely not from just this graveyard, so...
I mean, it worked still. I mean, it did its job, so that's the important thing.
Yeah. And I think the other information that you didn't quite figure out from, like, my freshly dug graves hint is I think if you decided to, like, dig down into that grave specifically, it would reveal that a lot of these graves were empty, and they've been moved somewhere else.
So you wanted me to not only desecrate Boondock's dad's fucking mausoleum, but dig into people's graves and fucking figure out all they're missing. No, man, no. Why?
Yeah, that clue might have been on me.
God. Anyway, so I remember this too. As we're all like riding toward the mines and stuff, and it's a pretty big hike, like even on horseback. I even like rode up to Boondock like, "Hey, buddy, are you still mad?" And they didn't even respond to me. I'm like, "Okay, that's cool," and I like let my reins go a little bit to like fall behind so Boondock doesn't have to look at my face.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. One thing in my defense, I thought the freshly dug grave hint would be like enough for you guys to realize like maybe these like the things have been moved around or something like that. But like, I guess that's fair that you guys like wouldn't have been able to figure that out unless you guys dug up the graves. My intention was that like you guys thought like freshly dug graves, then eventually maybe one of you pieces together like, oh, maybe the bodies aren't here.
See, my thought was, oh, maybe some people just died. That's all I thought was happening. I was like, cool. Well, yeah, I'm gonna stick these in the ground anyway.
That's fair. That's a reasonable assumption because like Hope's Landing's a place where a lot of people die very often. So.
Yeah, especially with like executions here and there. Like it's the fucking lawless West. Okay, that's why I thought somebody died and they just kind of like buried him there. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
That's fair. That's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys eventually get to the mines where Mr. Salt is holed up. You kind of snoop around into like that main desk though, and you can see that like the receptionist's office has just been like torn to shreds. There's like blood along the walls. It's just total fucking chaos in there. Yeah, but you cannot see like anybody around, and I believe this is the point where Juliet starts to snoop about.
Well, Juliet, being Juliet, decides to be fucking nosy, like she is all the time. Anyway, she pilfers through the secretary's desk, and she finds the calendar she stole before, and when she was flipping through the calendar, there was no events, like, penciled in or anything after that date. And she also found a special edition romance novel. Because, like, the normal one wasn't enough, apparently, so she took it.
Yeah. Where'd you find the normal romance novel? I don't believe we covered that one.
Oh, I stole it from the secretary the first time when she was distracted. Yeah. Okay, if anybody is the smut smuggler, it's that lady. Why did she have two? You know what? Yeah. Explain that, Shivam.
You got me. You've uncovered my deeper plan all along with my smut smuggling ring.
Smut smuggling ring? Why?
Oh my god. Stupid.
You gave it to me.
Stupid game. Hate all
God.
of it. Yeah, so after you find out this key piece of information that this woman has smut on her, you go into Fox form to begin, like, scoping out further inside of the mines. I think at that point you found Mr. Salt as he's walking past this, like, huge, fleshy golem. And I'm almost certain you, like, snuck by the golem to try and see where Mr. Salt was going.
Yes. So what happened was we were looking down into this courtyard and we saw Mr. Salt walking past. There's this disgusting, huge, like, flesh golem. Now, Juliet is the only one who could see ghosts. This flesh golem was, like, trying to eat the ghosts. And, like, there was 5 of them. So I turned into a fox and I easily snuck past the golem because, like, its perception was, like, super low or something like that. And I get to the other side and I see Mr. Salt, like, summoning an elevator. And so, big brain again. Well, what I assumed was big brain. Haha, who fucking knows anymore? I was like, oh, if I, like, plant a flower or something on him that I can track, that way we'll be able to find him in the mines and not get lost and, like, just easily go in and get out. So that way we don't have to waste a lot of time away from the townsfolk of Hope's Landing, so that way they could, you know, survive if we had to get in there and, like, you know, clutch. So I got a flower, and as I'm trying to plant it, I just wanted to plant it, like, under his shoe or something where I could smell it. He turns around and fucking sees me, and I'm like, ah! I am a small fox. Please leave me alone. And I drop the flower and start, like, yeah. I dropped the flower in front of him, and I start backing up, because at first I was like, maybe I can attack him now, and he will never, that's it, and I can be done. And then I rolled a high enough perception to realize, nah, this fucker will kill me instantly if I decide to change back into a human right now. So he then, like, he doesn't pay me that much attention other than I'm, like, a weird little fox that just fucking approached him, picks up the flower and crushes it in his hand, and I was like, okay, not exactly what I was going for, but it does the job. And I ran away.
Yeah, so you run back into the courtyard to see that horrible, like, flesh golem thing, and as you do, you can see that there's, like, a bunch of, like, ghosts the flesh golem is chasing, and you eventually realize that, like, one of the ghosts that's, like, trying to, like, keep all the other ghosts safe is an extremely tall satyr, and I think at this point, like, you eventually figured out, like, wait, is this Boondock's dad that they were talking about?
Yeah. I was like, man, you're gonna rub it in again, like, right fucking now? Okay. So, in fox form, I managed to give the Boondock's dad's ghost attention. I was like, hey, well, I didn't actually say hey. It's more like scream bark as a fox. And the ghost is kind of like, this fucking fox can see me and looks like it's like sane, okay? And I point with my little fox nose and I pointed toward where Boondock was hiding with the rest of the party. I'm fucking stupid because the golem was following the ghost. And what does Boondock's dad go to? Boondock! And the ghost goes there, and so does the fucking golem. So I fucking sprint to the party, change back into a human as fast as I can. I'm like, I don't have much time to explain. Boondock, your dad's a ghost and he's here and he's trying to help the other ghosts not get eaten. And everyone's like, what? And like, there's ghosts that are trying to run away and not get eaten. And everyone's like, what? I'm like, we just gotta fight this thing, and bam! It's like slams like straight in.
Oh god. Yeah, so everyone fucking rolls initiative. It's not just like a normal fight because you need to take down this like horrible creature, but also like at the same time you need to protect like the 5 ghosts, and you need to stop like the flesh golem from being able to like eat those 5 ghosts. I believe like the rest of you guys, besides Juliet, decided to like try and take down and distract the monster. As Juliet, I think you pulled out a mayo jar.
I pulled out a mayonnaise jar, and I was like, "Okay, ghost, if you want to like survive, then come with me, and I can help you." And then I literally was trying to go around putting these ghosts into the mayonnaise jar, and it managed to work somehow.
Yeah, you stuffed pretty much everyone in except for Boondock's dad. As all 4 of these ghosts are just like squished up against the sides of the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking for some reason. I was like, I just know I need to keep these ghosts safe. That's all I wanted to do. So I trapped the ghosts in a mayonnaise jar, except for Bo. And was dinking my ghost kunai at the Soul Keeper.
Yeah. I think this was the one fight where, like, I kind of warned you, like, hey, if you really try to take this thing head on, it's gonna do just a shit ton of damage to you. And I mean, I'm like, that's your choice, but, like, Juliet's so squishy.
Okay. Well, that and the fact I was like, okay, everybody else can attack this big thingy. I can go help the ghosts. I feel like that'll be my goal here.
Yeah. And that worked out. Boondock ended up being the one tanking this, and unfortunately, though, like, everyone kind of assumes, like, Boondock's a fighter or a barbarian, but, like, Boondock is a bard.
Boondock is a bard.
Yeah, with very squishy D8 hit dice, and, like, not many tanking options.
Yeah.
So, as the Soul Keeper's just smacking Boondock over and over again, Boondock's getting pretty low on health. Thankfully, though, the party is able to kind of dink at the Soul Keeper too, and the Soul Keeper's also not looking too good. But it swings around to the Soul Keeper's turn, and it's about to do just this big overhand strike on Boondock. And Boondock's player is like, well, fuck, I have like 5 health. It's been real, guys.
Yeah.
But as it's like swinging down with this big overhand strike, I describe as Boondock hears a familiar southern voice in their head. And the voice tells them to pull out the guntar that was their father's. And Boondock just kind of like, with no other options, decides, okay, I guess, as they pull out the guitar and begin to play. And as they do, they just begin to become, like, wreathed in flames. And as the Soul Keeper touches the flames with his sword, Boondock then erupts out with this insanely powerful hellish rebuke that manages to just incinerate the monster and just, like, burn up half the room in the process. The party's also just knocked back. And as the party all just kind of like stands up, they realize that like Hellish Rebuke is supposed to have worn off at this point, but it hasn't. As Boondock is still like wreathed in this flames, there's this stoic flame demon in front of them. And
I was scared. Like,
yeah.
So the whole room was on fire because of Boondock's like blast and start like like fucking smashing everything, because like they were still angry about the whole like, yeah, my dad's fucking grave just got robbed and I have to deal with all of this shit. Like, I wouldn't blame them, but they were still on fire, and I was like, okay, buddy, hey, chill out. I get it. I did a wrong. I understand that now, but we don't need to go to certain measures here.
Please don't tell me.
Pretty much. Nothing happened out of it though. We were good. I think Boondock just kind of like fizzled himself out.
Yeah.
Like just.
I think Boondock fizzled himself out and then just immediately like passed out from just like the sheer exhaustion. But they did gain a new ability, Hellwalker form. So
hell yeah.
Anytime they get underneath half their maximum health, they transform into Hellwalker form, which basically cast Hellish Rebuke at the lowest level to any target within 5 feet of them. Which is nice, because they're technically the party's tank, despite not really having anything that can tank. So, you know, it's kind of worth to just get this free damage off.
At that point, when Boondock was kind of like fizzled out and just chilling there on the floor, I went up to Boondock's dad's ghost and I was like, "Hey, do you want to talk to your son as like an apology for me, you know, raiding your tomb?" And he was like, I don't know how to do that." And I was like, "It's okay, cool, it's cool, trust me." And I held out my hands, and Boondock's dad took my hands, and I basically let him possess my body. And at that point, you asked me like, "Hey, do you want to play as Boondock's dad?" And I personally, like, as me, I was like, I don't want to take that anything away from Boondock or his character. So I was just like, I'm not. You can do it. I don't want to do it, because I was like, I'll just take the backseat on this.
Yeah. That's fine. I just thought it would be fucking hilarious, though, to just, like...
Have me do it?
Hear the Juliet voice. No, I mean, like, yeah, but I'm, like, hearing your voice very specifically, like, "Hey, Boondock, it's your dad."
But, like, southern, like,
in
"Hey,
the Juliet
Boondock."
Voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Because, yeah. So, we had, honestly, just, like, this really touching moment as Juliet, like, straightens up, kind of looks just, like, slightly taller, kind of like, has their hands just like where a belt would be as they strut over to Boondock and say like, nice work with the Soul Key over there, kid. As they offer to tune the guitar for Boondock. And Boondock at this point, like, as they realize like, oh shit, this is my father that I'm talking to, begins to just kind of break down a little bit and actually just begins to kind of like cry, which is honestly interesting because like, Boondock's always been insanely stoic, even like in the face of danger. Just see him just like break down in this very personal, emotional way. And so like Boondock's dad talks to them for a little bit. As they're tuning the guitar, they play like a little like a ditty as they hand the guitar back to Boondock. Boondock's dad then explains that like the guntar should have always been Boondock's, and like if Pa Boondock had any sort of say in it, then like they would have given it to them like when they got of age. And then there's another emotional scene where Pa Boondock just apologizes to Boondock because the only thing that Pa was able to give him was a guntar and a town full of problems. And Boondock again just openly weeping, telling his dad he doesn't need to apologize, and like he'll take care of the town in his Pa's stead.
And this is the point where we all started crying because it was sad. We were like, ah.
It was great because it was so sad, and just like Pa Boondock gives Boondock a hug, but like we all slowly realized that like it was Juliet's body though, so like Boondock, the 6'5" satyr, had to lean down to this 5'1" Kitsune woman.
It was cute, okay? All of us were crying.
Yeah, it was adorable, but just a really funny image of just like a fatherly hug from a 5'1" woman.
I drew this image. If you check out my Instagram, shameless plug.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after their like little scene there, Pa Boondock like released my body, and I spoke with him. I'm like, hey, Are we good? Like, are we on good terms? And he's like, yeah, you're good. And I was like, okay, cool. And I let out the ghost of the mayonnaise jar, and everybody is looking at me like I'm fucking crazy because I'm talking to empty space. And fucking Essen tried to like bow toward the ghost. I'm like, dude, you're bowing the wrong way. Oh shit. So I think all that was left in the mayonnaise jar was ectoplasm, I think. That's what they said. Yeah. And I was like, so are you gonna lead the ghost to the great beyond or some shit? And Pablo Deck was like, yeah, I'll make sure they're all good. And that is where we left off that session.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, yeah, no. Just absolutely one of my favorite sessions to DM. Just like from the sheer just like chaos of like the arch popping off to Juliet making some very interesting decisions to all those like party dynamics. You guys like trained and figured out ideas, and the big finale of this like huge emotional scene. Oh my god, it was all just so good. So many just like high points.
I think this was a really good session to like figure out how can we all strategize as a group on what everybody can do. Like, Juliet went to go help the ghost. Everybody else went to help fight the big bad dude. I don't know. I think this was a really good session too, and like it just kind of progressed from here. Like, what all are we able to do as like characters and like work as a team?
Yeah, no, this is definitely just like a place where we could all kind of see like how you guys like split those like roles up, and like what you guys like strengths are as characters, because like I think like pretty much all of you just like stepped up to the plate and showed like what your characters could really do and put it in like big positions.
Like Grave Rob.
Like Grave Rob. Oh my god.
God damn it.
Yeah, but at least it all worked out and it made such a good story.
We laugh about it now.
Yeah, I am willing to put it here. We are no longer allowed to make fun of you for this because you've done more things that we're now make fun of you for.
I was gonna say, this versus all the other shit that I've done so far, I think is on the low part of the scale, and that's saying something about fucking grave robbing somebody's fucking dead father's tomb.
Yeah, but I'm putting a pin in it now. This is the last time we're allowed to joke about the grave robbing.
That's bullshit, and you know it. That's bull. I'm gonna bring it up even.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Well, on that note, wrap things up?
Yeah.
Alright, so thank you all so much for listening to another episode of PhoenixChat. Full disclosure, there might have been a weird edit somewhere near like the end of the episode because
Craig is sus.
Our recording bot named Craig kind of ate some of our audio and refuses to give it back, so we kind of need to re-record a little bit. It's fine. Yeah, sorry for this episode coming out a little bit later too. We'll try to keep Craig more in check now.
Okay, yeah, we'll fucking try.
Craig is a nameless entity. We do not control Craig's whims.
God. Cool.
Yes, but if you want to support us, Patreon, link in our description, is the best way to do so if you're on YouTube. Also check out our Instagram, which Izzy plugged earlier. If you also check out the official Spicy Velociraptor Studios Instagram, you can find out some content related regarding the Phoenix Heart, as well as a Draw Us in Your Style for Juliet, which is still happening this month.
There are prizes.
Yeah, you can get commissions from Izzy, and
like,
Izzy draws real
wow.
good.
I do. Surprise.
Surprise.
Okay, that's it. PhoenixChat. Yeah, okay.